These are the Little Orphan Annie comic strips for the week of August 31st, 1925. Annie is by herself looking out the window. She says, "Gee whiskers! Maybe I hadn't ought to have socked Selby so hard, but the nerve of him thinking he was big enough to paddle me. Huh! He'll never grow that big." She overhears Mrs. Warbucks talking from the next room. Mrs. Warbucks says, "How can you tolerate that little beast in this house when you know how I despise her? Why, poor little Selby's face is one mass of bruises, and 4 of his front teeth are so loose they're ready to fall out. Oh, why did I ever marry such a low, common clod as you?" Annie quickly hides behind a curtain as Mr. and Mrs. Warbucks walk through the hallway together. Mrs. Warbucks continues, "Feelings? Bah! You're just a lump of dirt." Daddy Warbucks says, "Yeah, pay dirt." Once they're gone, Annie comes out from behind the curtain. She says, Gee, I'm making it tough for Daddy. All she does all day is pick on him about me. Seems like every place I go I make trouble. S'pose if I was like Selby she'd like me too. But I wouldn't be a stuck-up, double-crossing little sneak like that guy, Selby. Even to get into heaven, I wouldn't." The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Warbucks look in on Selby, who is still beat up from his fight with Annie. Mrs. Warbucks says, "In spite of his terrible wounds, the poor child is so brave. He's hardly cried at all." They go to another room. She says, "Oliver, how can you stand there and whistle with poor Selby lying on a bed of pain?" Oliver is looking out the window. He's whistling, "Yes, sir, that's my baby." Mrs. Warbucks is upset. She's throwing her hands up and says, "Why, he may lose his front teeth. He may be scarred for life. Can't you realize? Aren't you afraid?" Daddy Warbucks continues singing and whistling. He goes, "No, sir, I don't mean maybe." Then he turns to his wife and says, "Afraid? Sure. That's why I'm whistling, darling, to keep my courage up." Clearly he's not. Clearly he's singing a happy song because he's proud of Annie for beating up Selby. You see this the next day when the doctor comes and he starts bragging to the doctor. The doctor says, "Yes, he will recover, but, tell me, how did he ever get that way?" Daddy says, "Sufferin' cats, Doc, ain't you heard? And after she planted that one on his ear, Doc, he didn't get up anymore, see?" He's acting out the fight. The doctor goes, "Ooh, I wish I'd been there." The doctor is pleased. So Daddy Warbucks calls in Annie. He goes, "She's a wonder, Doc. Want you to meet her. Oh, Annie!" The doctor takes off his hat and shakes Annie's hand, saying, "It is indeed a pleasure, Miss Annie, to shake so capable and dexterous a hand." Daddy claps her on the shoulder, saying, "Fastest left I ever saw anywhere." Daddy may be excited, but Annie is having second thoughts the next day. She's out on some sort of porch. She says, "There goes Selby in a wheelchair, the poor guy. I did give him an awful beating. Gee, I should be ashamed of myself. The idea of a girl fighting like that. I've got to cut it out. I'm going over and apologize, I am." So she goes to Selby and says, "Feel better, Selby? That's good. Gee, I want to tell you I'm sorry, see?" I just realized I don't have a copy of the Friday strip. The strip that follows this one is Daddy Warbucks overhearing the servants gossip about what happened, and he slips them money because he likes hearing the story of Annie beating up Selby. On Saturday, we have a foreshadowing comic. Annie says, "Gee, I feel sort of funny all over today, like something was going to happen." "Hello, Sandy. Do you feel that way too? Honest, I got a hunch or something. Maybe I'm wrong, but always before when I felt this way, something happened." And things have been going along about the same quite a while now. That's not kosher. Ever since I can remember, when things went along about the same for too long, then bang! Oh well, Sandy, all we can do is sit tight and keep our eyes and ears open. Mrs. Warbucks hates us, and Selby hates us, and most everybody seems to hate me. But we'll always get along some way, Sandy. Daddy still likes us, and he's better than everybody else in the world, I betcha. Annie is referring to the fact that the Count de Tour is going to show up in the next week of comic strips. Yes, a new villain for Annie to deal with.